I'm Don Maulding, Nathan Walter's grandfather, and I'm 87 years old. I was born in 1927. I lived at Clearwater, Nebraska. We were south of Clearwater on a farm, probably about 12 miles. And when we moved in closer to town, we had no power. We didn't have electricity, so you had to power a radio. And to power that radio, we had to use like a battery in your car. And you wouldn't get many nights of that without having to recharge the battery, and that was expensive. And this was in the 30s, and money was not very plentiful. So the radio was really quite a luxury, and you didn't turn it on unless you had a real certain program you wanted to listen to, which they would be serials that would continue on. You'd listen to them every night. If you missed a night, you really had a problem because you had to figure out what happened. And then they did a lot of advertising in between. You'd get the chance to order things from Wheaties box tops. You'd send in the box tops, and I got a ring. I know one time Jack Armstrong was wearing a ring that glowed in the dark, and you could send in 2 box tops and a dime and probably get that ring. And I had one. Oh man, that was quite a thing. Lay there in bed at night, showing there my fingers be glowing. Then when we got closer to town, we bought a new radio and we could get the battery charged, but you needed an antenna. The more wire you had coming in, the better. And my dad strung wire from the windmill that we had to a tree, to the barn, to more trees. And he probably had a half a mile of wire or more strung around the yard up in that stuff, but that's the way we had an antenna, the only thing that we had. Now, I worked on a ranch south of O'Neill. I had one record, Gene Autry singing one song. I can't recall the name of it, but anyway, I would listen to that every night, crank up that's all I had for entertainment in the bunkhouse, was that one record on that recording. Now, music's just all amplifiers. Before, you'd have a trumpet, and you'd have a clarinet, and a saxophone, and a piano, and a drummer'd play a little. And it just didn't try to blow your eardrums off. They tried to make good music. And I kind of enjoyed that. A lot different than today's music. But I think I remember my grandparents kind of wondering about my music. And I didn't think that what they listened to was all that great either. So it's an age thing. I've seen a lot of it come and go, that's for sure. When I was in the service, I was stationed at Seattle, and I would dial the operator, and then she would route it, and they would call Portland. Portland would call Salt Lake City. Salt Lake City would call Denver. Denver would call Omaha. Omaha would call O'Neill, Nebraska. And then O'Neill would call the Clearwater operator, and then they would get to my folks on the phone line. So it was quite a procedure, and it'd make me more homesick just hearing all those towns and thinking if I could just go instead of my voice, you know. No, I didn't know that a phone wasn't just a box on a wall for a long, long time, until probably after I was out of the service. I didn't get a television until I think 53 or 54. And I know when we got our first television, it was black and white. We didn't have any color, and it was all snow. You'd turn it on, and of course you didn't know what channels to go on. You just had to learn that all by yourself, sitting there in front of it. And I'd turn that crank, and oh, look at that. Look at that. You can see a form, you know. And we'd be thrilled about that. But I ran a theater for about a year and a half, I think. The business was pretty good. The concessions was the best business, but the tickets took care of all the other expenses. But when TV came in, everybody got a new TV for Christmas, and my business just went like that. Nobody came to the show. But yeah, we've enjoyed TV. I think we had better television at first. I know they were a lot cleaner shows. You didn't have to worry about the kids. Now you can hear anything on there and see anything on there if you turn to the right channels. And I don't like that. I think that's bad. The type of entertainment that we seem to enjoy, I think it's downgraded our culture. It's downgraded our moral standards, and I don't like to see that. I feel maybe that our news media and things that way dwell too much on the bad things that happen. I think maybe our emphasis, a lot of it, should be instead of when somebody shoots somebody, boy, that's headlines, and everybody wants to know. Why not pick out somebody that's just got a very high score in college and make that the big story? We need to get ourselves back up to maybe money isn't everything, that there's a lot of other things that are important in life. So that's my opinion.